much time?
I want to be out of it.
It's not idea. Okay, can we switch places or yeah. So I need to sit here, right?
Sorry?
I cannot walk around. I need to sit. Okay, good. Because I'm a walking type, you know.
Are you? Are you? I reckon you could walk if you want.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Okay, folks. Thank you for coming. And this is the first of what will be 2 weeks before TET and 2 weeks after TET events in a series which we do every year called 30-minute methods. And the idea is to introduce experimental and new and interesting methodologies into the social sciences faculty, right? Although it's my mission, personal mission is into sociology, but to bring anthropology into sociology, but any kind of stuff. And we've had some really great talks on film and on participatory methods and other things. And today, we're really lucky that we have a neighbor has crossed the great divide of the fake river that separates RMIT from us. It's not even a rack, is it? Does it count as a canal, that thing? It's just stagnant water, it seems to me. Maybe once it was a canal, but yeah, I sometimes go past and there are dead fish. Anyway, to have come across the from RMIT to speak to us, and I'm going to massacre your name, no doubt.
Yeah, okay.
Agnieszka Kiejziewicz?
Yeah, almost good.
Good. It could be somehow shared heritage of the Northern Europeans. As speaking on immersive community engagement around Kente Canal, in Ho Chi Minh City, the possibilities of VR film, virtual reality, as a research method, right? And she'll speak to us for about 20-25 minutes. Slides have been translated, but most of you are used to hearing me in English, so it should be okay. And then we have some questions in a few minutes.
Sure.
So thank you very much for coming,
Thank
and
you.
the floor is yours.
Thank you for the invitation. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I hope you are doing great today. And this presentation is long, but I'm not going to use it. I will use my project as a case study just to tell you about methodologies. So this project is about digital media. It's about anthropology. It's about discovering locality. But yeah, so maybe 2 seconds about me. So I'm teaching in games design. So I make games and I teach how to make games, but also I do digital media and new technologies like holograms and especially like VR. So we are testing how can we use VR technology in research. We are also doing mixed media and different stuff. So I'm particularly interested in VR and expanded reality and expanded experience. So my first research question was, how can I communicate about my research using VR? And how can I apply VR to communicate research to general public, not only to researchers? So how do I create experience? Oops, type. Anyway, I will continue it. I'll get back. So this project,
yeah, maybe slowly.
Yes, okay. So this project was a really big project. So we were doing that for 2 years, and it had many steps. I will tell you about those steps. And VR was the last part. So the VR, in fact, was dissemination, but also the new, like next step for a new project. So now I have my research material, I have my VR film, I will show you a recap, and I will send you my link later so you can check this VR film. It's on YouTube, in fact. So and you don't need Oculus, or you don't need any headset to watch this VR film. You can just move your mouse. So you can watch this film on different devices. But anyway, so this project was also part of River Cities Network. You know, there is a network here And not only in Vietnam. In Vietnam, I think we have 2 or 3 places who are parts of River City Network. So what we do, we research on rivers and sometimes canals. And in general on water. So how water shapes communities, how important is that? And it is important in Vietnam and it is important in our city. So this is the background of the project. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, yes. So, and it's not like I'm not doing this project by myself. So there is a research team. So in my research team, I also had a historian who was responsible for gathering historical data because before we started making our film, before we started the interviews, we needed to gather some resources about the background. And in fact, it started from this map. So my colleague brought this map and he told me, like, he discovered this map in the archive. So he works with the archive in District 4. So he brought this map and he said, this is super interesting because this is the first map that shows Cantet. So, and you see that this canal is artificial. So, yes, so it's here, right? So you know where we are. So this is District 4, right? So you see that this canal, in fact, created District 4. And we started looking at this map and we started thinking, like, what can we say about it, right? What does it mean that this artificial canal, in fact, created the city? Because nowadays we still feel this. So now we have 2 bridges, right? Like 1, 2, 3. We have a little bit more, but that's not enough. We still feel it. And there is a story behind it. And this story, it started with French who built this canal. Anyway, I'm not gonna go deep into the history. So I just wanted to give you the background. So the background was purely historical, and we wanted to understand more about this. So we started digging the archives, and we started searching for conversations around this. So our question was, were people happy? Because it wasn't that a very good idea. This canal was built for transportation, but our question was, like, were people happy? So what about the people who live in the villages around? Those were villages. This is that now District 4 is populated, right? It's crowded, but it wasn't like this. So that was our question. And then we started searching for discussions. So how people communicated that they are unhappy and what happened next? And how can we connect this old history to how people use canal today and what people say about it today and how they live today and what kind of approach that created. So yeah, so this is Kente, and I know this is that this is tautology when we say Kente canal, but you know, like not everyone knows, right? So we are, yeah,
Had a
so
big debate translating that. And
yeah, I know. I'm fully aware, but I keep it for people who don't know and who are also, I communicated this research outside Vietnam. So it's like sometimes it's better to explain. Anyway, so this is Kente, and nowadays it looks like this, and of course it raises a lot of questions, right? So how this place changes, how important it is to local communities, and who are local people living there. And another question that we asked was that, can we use this place as a tourist place? Can we invite tourists there? And what we can do and what we can communicate about this place for the tourists to visit? So this is like the next step. So anyway, we connected, so that was the background, but we also applied different media in this project. So we perceived this project as new media project, but we also later on we used digital poetry. And the question is, why did we use poetry for that? Because we did we completed a lot of interviews, but not everyone agreed to use the interview later, because people wanted to communicate many things, right? And sometimes they were saying things like, oh, I don't like my neighbors and my neighbors is bad and so on. And then after we finished the interview, I was asking like, okay, can we use this interview? And they were like, no. So then we cannot. We still have the interview and we have information, but we cannot use it. We cannot publish it. But we can still use this information in a different form. So we started creating digital poetry. So taking parts of the interviews, we created poems and then we exhibited them. So yes, so our research question, our main big research question is like this. So how can new media, digital poetry, and creative archives be used to engage the community in urban revitalization projects? And how to create engagement through new technologies in Vietnam? Because and this is another question. VR technology is quite difficult to, like, it is very difficult to record a VR film. It is very difficult to show it in a gallery. So how to do this in Vietnam? And we, in this project, we see VR, virtual reality, as a method of archiving and describing reality at the same time. Because the film we recorded in District 4, in Can Tho, around Can Tho, it's an archive of a moment. So this moment will be never the same, right? So we archived specific moment from the life of Can Tho. So we also use digital anthropology, ethnography, and historical findings. So, and our main aim was to create immersive presentation of history and locality. Immersive, it means that we want to expand beyond traditional notions of museums. We want people to touch the history. We want the people to also to feel the history because the feeling is different. And then, because VR film, you don't need to be in Vietnam to visit Can Tho now. You can feel this. You can be inside the boat and you can observe and you can move your head and you see everything around. So it has like a huge touristic potential. So of course that was the pilot project. VR film is super expensive to record. Like 5 minutes is 50 million. Yes, with post-processing. So this is this amount of money, but it will be cheaper. So this we wanted to create some kind of methodology and approach to make it possible later, to encourage people to use VR, to communicate about the experience. And if you visit, for example, Hue, so then you go to the Citadel, they already have like VR experience, right? So the question is how to transfer this experience abroad, for example, to bring people to visit Vietnam. So we call our research in action because it was action all the time, and we also had interviews. So yeah, so this part I think I told you about it. So the first step of the project was in fact like gathering data, and then we started engaging in the interviews because this VR film is not a staged film. We don't have an actor in this film. So first we conducted the first round of interviews. We had around 60 respondents, but then only around, I don't remember exactly, I think 14 interviews we were able to use because people agreed to use for us to use the interviews. But then among those people, we contacted them again because we recorded the interviews. We had the voice interview too. And we were asking them, do you agree to take part in our VR film? Because we wanted one actor from the respondent. So not like someone from outside that we will tell him what to say. And we found that this person. At some point, we thought that, okay, if we want to find this person, then we stop it. Then we stop, we do something else, we use data that we already have, and we don't produce this VR film, or maybe we produce it differently. But then we found this person. So, and we decided to record this it's around 5-6 minutes pilot. So, and then we gathered everything and we created an exhibition. I will show you a recap in a second. I have like 1 minute film. It's a short recap. So yeah, you will see how it looked like. So all of this was to record the memories, to record the dialogue, and to continue the dialogue. So we assume in this project that the dialogue was started when the French built the canal. And the dialogue is ongoing because we are still talking about the shape of the city. We are talking about how people live around the canal. And we want to know this, right? So the dialogue never ends. And we wanted to just archive a part of this. And of course, we finished the project already. We are in the process of publishing. So, but the dialogue continues. So maybe we'll get back to this. Maybe we'll approach this differently too. So, okay, let me show you. Let me show you a short video. Oops, I think we can do this. Yeah, so we printed this map, like a huge map, like 5 meters, as the introduction to the exhibition. Yeah. As you see, it was a huge project, so we needed partners in the project. So we had a lot of local partners because that was what we cared about, to engage also like local partners in the project. So, and we combine different media, different elements, and this boat in the gallery is my crazy idea. So, because I wanted to give people something that they can touch, combining all senses, because in VR you can see, you cannot touch. So the idea was that we put like a huge screen and people could see this VR film on the screen, but also on the headset. So because VR experience is not collective experience, right? In VR you are alone. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to make collective experience out of VR. So in fact, people could observe what is happening inside the headset on the screen, but also the person who experienced the film, this person was able to sit in the boat. So then you engage more, then you can touch the boat, you can touch real wood, right? That was the purpose of this, to combine as many media, as many senses in one gallery experience as you can. Yes. Go further.
Next one.
Yes. So yes, so this is about interviewing process. I told you about this process already. So preliminary interviews, then the recordings, I think. So, and what we cared about in this project was community engagement on every level. Every step was about engaging community. So, for example, we used for the interviews, we recruited, of course, people officially, but we know that people also passed word of mouth, and people were bringing their colleagues and so on. And this project was fully covered by ethics application. So everything on every step, we cared about the ethics. We cared about the respondents to be safe, to protect their data, and to make sure that they agree to take part in this project. So it was super important. Part of the project was to get this film and this exhibition and the research methodology done. But the second part was to show standards to the community and to the researchers, and make sure that we don't use people around, that we ask people for permission when we use their stories. That's the point. And also about supporting, so creating a dialogue, because for the exhibition, for example, we invited people from District 4. We invited people who helped us during the project, and we invited the families that we met and so on. So we didn't want for sure this exhibition to be like exclusive exhibition for research community, because this is not the purpose. So the purpose was to show people new media, but also to engage them. So to build this engagement, and I'm still in contact with those companies we worked with, and I'm still in contact with people who own this business, because our VR film, we recorded there. So, you, of course, Coffee Ship, right? So, yeah, I was searching for a place to record my VR film and to conduct the interviews. And I already knew this place. I love that place. And I went there and I just asked them, can I record my VR film there? And they asked me, what is VR? And then I prepared like a huge explanation, what is VR film, translated into Vietnamese. And then we had our recording day. It took us like 8 hours to record this 5 minutes, in fact. So, yeah, so we are still in touch in this project. So, yes, so this is about the project application. So about the aims, I already told you, but I will I think you will have access to this presentation later, so maybe you can use it as a resource. So those are elements that we applied in the project when we were thinking like, how can we use this project? So we wanted to use virtual reality for non-entertaining purposes. So because if you go to Crescent Mall and you go to play some arcade, you see VR, right? But that's not the same VR. So it's different purpose. It's not for feeling emotions this way we want to communicate, and for sure it's not for documentary film. So, and also I had this, I'm from film studies before, so I had this one dream to complete. I wanted to do something like first. And I have it. So this is the first documentary VR film recorded in Vietnam. In fact, it's very short, but it exists, right? So this is it. So so this project, if we are talking about application, is about new methods, finding new methods for preserving local identity. Of course, it's about promotion of VR and new media in Vietnam. It's about education about locality, right? And as I told you, about tourism development. And we were also looking at this community around Can Tho in a context of post-COVID, because a lot of things change, and this change, it was returning in the interviews. So people were commenting on that. People were telling us, how was it before COVID? And I don't know, because I came here after COVID. I came here in the first plane from my country that came here after COVID. So yes, so I don't know. I don't have comparison. So I need to get the opinion and interviews. Yes, so when we are talking about VR for non-entertaining purposes, for example, for education and art, I'm almost finishing. There is more, but I will just close it. Yes, of course, it's about immersive experience, but it's a little bit more also about emotions, because according to the research, later on at the end, I will show you references. You can check them. You can read more about it. But we wanted to focus on the last point. So we wanted to research on how can we establish correlation between cognition and empathy building mechanisms. So we assumed that somehow we can communicate about feelings when you visit specific place, right? So we wanted to somehow bring emotions through documentary film and think how people can relate to this, right? And we are still researching, we are still thinking about it, because how people who never been to Vietnam can relate to this, right? So this is still a big question, right? Oh, this is Can Tho tool. This one I will skip. There are of course a lot of challenges, and starting from how people feel using headsets. So don't overdose that. So some people feel bad after using VR, right? The headset, after 1 minute, they cannot stand it. And there are like more and more things, and post-processing is quite difficult when it comes to film. So there is more, and there is like a huge research supporting many things that we discovered here, but also not everything is covered by research. So for example, there's a huge research gap concerning using VR, and especially VR about the history and documentary VR in school surrounding. So not so many people teach using VR technology, and of course, because there are problems, right? But it may change because somehow we want it, and there will be new headsets this year, so we will see how they work. Yes. So, but we also see in this project, we see virtual reality as possibility for commemorating things. So we commemorate this moment that we discovered around Canter, right? Okay, this one. Yes, this one I will leave you. And yes, so and VR, as I told you, VR as archiving method. So we try to record immersive memories here, but there is also more, because in VR you don't you can also put additional resources like maps. And for example, you know, this is a funny story, but the huge map that you saw in the recap. So this huge map, we opened that for the last time. So this is this huge map we printed is the only copy of this map now, because this map is quite old, and the archive said that we cannot open this map anymore. So this big huge copy is the only map that is the only copy that exists, right? So, but then what we can do with that? Of course, we can create a digital version of this map, and the users in VR, the users will be able to touch it, zoom it, go around it, right? So this map, thanks to that, this map is, of course, we have like printed version, and it's on like special canvas, like this plastic canvas. So it's not paper, so it will stay. So we preserved something in this project for sure, but yes, but also we can create a digital version, and it will stay forever as long as we have electricity, right? Oh, and by the way, so this photo that you can see, so this is the first photo of Canter. So this is like the moment of building. Can you recognize the place? Of course, no, there are no buildings. It was like nothing, only fields there, right? But this is the process, like the moment of building. And the second map is a little bit older, right? So you can see the buildings already. So you can see how the urban development developed in District 4, right? So the middle is nothing, but then you have some buildings on the border. Yes. Okay, so this one I told you. And also there is another thing. So this is more about tourists and their perception, because in our film we have one person, and this person is like, of course we show the surrounding, but then this person describes the story, some stories, some insights. So this is not like a story of the canal. This is more like a discussion, impressions, and so on. And it gives opportunity to like tourists to meet locals, right? Also tourists, also people who won't visit Vietnam, they want to, you know, they want to know how to talk, they want to know the stories, but they won't be able, most of them, if they are not living in Vietnam, if they're coming here for 1 week, they won't be able to sit with locals and ask them like, hey, about District 4. So what are your impressions? Are you close to the water, right? How do you feel like you live around Canter? How do you feel? How important is that for you? So people won't be able to ask locals that. So we give this experience, because in our film, you are just sitting in front of a local guy, and he is like, he's talking to you. There are things on the table and so on, right? So this is the experience. So in conclusion, So of course, VR offers like new possibilities for expanded, creative, immersive archiving. So we can archive more, we can archive from many angles, but there are also problems like, for example, the cost of this, super expensive. So if, for example, if some school, like local school, wants to use VR to archive local history in a small village, it won't be possible without the support of partners, right? Because 5 minutes, 50 million around with post-processing. So you see, but as I told you, we will discover, and also VR headsets, they're not perfect so far. So far, we can overdose this experience. It's painful, but it will be better. So yeah, so we can hope that in the future we can use more. So we are also like we could develop more. We didn't look at this, but of course there is a huge gap, like VR-based teaching methodology. So teaching methodologies, there is a lot of things to cover, especially teaching locality, teaching history. Technical stuff is quite well covered, like 3D modeling and so on, but there is still huge research gap in here. So this one I told you, and I told you a lot about tourism potential, right? So yes, and what is the most important? That this is a new experience, that we can engage various senses, especially if we connect it to the exhibition. And of course, I know it doesn't happen often, right? So it's not like everyone will create an exhibition and put a boat and so on, but we can just try to communicate about the way we can do things, right? So the exhibition can be something more than just observing, because we have more senses. We want to touch. We want to move our head and see different things and be inside the experience. So the question is how to use research and create the experience for general public to feel something in the gallery. And that's all. Thank you.